All right, cool beans. Are you guys excited?
Yeah.
So you know what I didn't tell the first group about? My journal. I only had 2 cans of Diet Coke instead of my usual 4, so apparently I forget things. All right, so new journal this show. I'm starting with it so I don't forget it. We're calling it the Blue Edition because I love blue, if you can't tell. Hair, glasses, eyelashes, look at my eyelashes. Nails, that's right. I like my blue apparently. And blue, I think blue's a neutral. Every single color matches your jeans, so blue is a neutral and I'm sticking to it. And I just thought it'd be a fun challenge. So a night navy cover. Look, I actually made a cover. I always tell people I don't do covers. Now I'm like, oh, I like that. It was really fun. And then it has 3 substrates in instead of 4. So the black cover journals have 4 substrates. This has 3. We have a denim. We have the thick watercolor paper, the same that is in the white journal. And then we have a white burlap because I'm a statist and I like to punish you all who whine about the burlap. The burlap takes the sprays wonderfully. You can paint it. I will say most of the time it's like, you know how many tags I make? They are so perfect to just staple. I use that tiny attacher by Tim. I freaking love that thing. And your burlap's is done, right? Done. That, by the way, is the sprays on the gel plate.
They take the scribble sticks as well.
And they do take the scribble sticks. They take the acrylic. You just can't watercolor on them because they're plasticky, but everything else you can do.
If you put the scribble sticks on a stencil, they just boom.
Yeah, they're really, really fun. Okay, so new journal, super fun. Also new stamps and stencils. I think stamps and stencils are like that undercurrent that's always the foundation. You always need new ones. Again, I did big shapes, which is why we did the big block because they needed a 5x7 block with the larger shapes that I've been doing. So new stamps, new stencils, new block. The one stencil that I will highlight and mention is the alphabet masks. I needed to do a sign for my kid. Went to Office Depot and bought those Post-it notes that are die cut letters and started using them, ripped 3 of them trying to pull it off. And then sprayed something over it and then it shrunkled like a tissue and I'm like, these things suck. And then I was like, I need these to be plastic. I'm like, oh, these could be plastic. And so I'm really excited that we were able to, that they said yes, that I could do just a block alphabet and that didn't look like a stencil. So, and then they were like, well, do you even need the negative part, the stencil bit? And I said, yes, I do. Because even though there are no middles to that B anymore, it still looks like a B, for heaven's sake. So I found that I've used both the positives and the negatives a ton. And then I just want this to go on camera. I had one organizational idea in my lifetime. And this is it.
Good morning.
Hello.
Approximately 30 minutes away from opening the doors for day 2 of the 2020 Creativation show. Please make sure that all chairs and other items are completely out of the aisles so that we can open the doors on time. Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you. All right. So I threw all my alphabets in a little bag. You know, I had them all in a little baggie, and I could never find the I. And so finally, I'm like, oh, I have these baseball cards. So throw them in your baseball card holders. I use my little clips and clip them, and then people are like, where do you store your stencils? There, that's where I store. But having the alphabets like that really makes them really super usable. And you need more than one set, so you have more vowels, right? Because there was no room to give you extra vowels, so you got to buy 2 or 3, or if you're me, like 100. So love that stencil. New chipboard shapes. Same as before, gessoed on one side. So we have words, we have some flying creatures, and we have ocean for my diving. And love using those. You'll see them on samples all over the boards. Also new, Collage Collective number 2. It might seem confusing because we have Collage Collective number 2, but it's in 2 parts. And we did this just to make the price point a bit lower. It's just so that if whoever was intimidated maybe by number 1 and it seemed like, I don't know if I want to spend 20 bucks on that, I don't know if I'll use it, then we divided it in half just to get the ones that are a little intimidated to help them realize this is awesome and it's not as expensive, so enjoy.
Good for selling.
Good for selling,
Very
yeah.
good for
and they're
selling.
different, so
Yeah.
there's no repeats between these 2. And same as before, you get 2 prints of every design, and one on text weight paper and one on cardstock weight paper. So use these a ton. Excited about that as well. Last year I thought this would be the hit of the show, and the hit of the show was the white journal, which is awesome. I love that white journal, but this is one of my most used items in my studio, because sometimes you want to make, but you don't have much time, so you just paint with paper instead of painting with paint or something like that. So I use that a ton. Big brushes. So in that original, or that set of brush assortment, I missed this one, which is, when I realized it, I thought, Dina, you were the biggest dodo head, because every face in my journal I paint with this freaking brush. So we brought this one back. We did a SKU with 1.5 inch flat and a 2 inch flat. And some people are like, oh, it's a big brush. Yes, if you want your art to be more expressive, if you want to loosen up, you should change your brush size, and you should go bigger, not smaller. Christy's dancing. She's so excited.
I'm so happy to have a big
I'm
one.
happy too. So they're really fun to use a bigger brush. Lots of little brushes out there, and these are inexpensive. If you go to the art store, so sometimes the
It feels softer because it's bigger.
it's softer because it's new. You should see the ones I brought from home. They're nasty, but you know, I really abuse mine something fierce. So there you go. All right. Am I up to sprays? Have I forgotten anything? Okay, sprays, you guys. The biggest thing with these is going to be a little bit of education required, I guess, for you guys, because they look like an ink and they're just so not an ink. They don't act like an ink. You cannot do the same techniques. Absolutely, you can't ghost. All those wonderful things that makes dilutions amazing. Yeah, no. Because this is not ink, this is spray paint. So just like you would go to the hardware store and buy a can of spray paint and then need to shake it, same deal here. So these shake up like a can of paint would shake. The difference is these are water-based. So no weird smell, non-toxic, we're not killing our ozone, there's no solvent in these. That also means that they will resist each other. Does that make sense? So let me show you what I mean. So if I have unprimed paper and I spray one color, that color is going to soak in. And then when that paper reaches, you know, saturation, the color sits on top. So let me spray it again. So now that yellow that I sprayed again is not going to sink in because it's already saturated. Just like Arizona soil when it rains. It soaks in for like 1 centimeter and then we have flash floods, right? It's kind of like this. It's going to soak in and then the rest, the excess, is going to sit on the top. And it's going to be plasticky. Now, if the spray paint from the hardware store has a solvent. So if I had hardware store spray paint, I sprayed on that, it would stick everywhere it touched because that chemical, that solvent is adhering it to the other plastic. Because this is water-based, it's not going to stick. It's going to resist each other. And in the end, that is what it looks like. Pass that around. It looks like these nebulas. So this is how you get this nebula look with no work whatsoever. You just layer them on top of each other. Watch, look. And you can't control it, so don't try. All of you accountants need to unclench. It's literally going to do what it wants to do, and there's no changing it. And I could add water to that if I wanted, but you don't need to. You don't, I mean, there's really no benefit to adding water to it. So that is going to turn into one of these little nebula things, and as it dries, it will change. It really will. This spray will stick to your fingernails, your cell phone, your Fire Stick remote. I had to pick a button. It was stuck on the left button and I couldn't select anything. So I learned, anyway, it'll glue your buttons down, just so you know. So move your remotes away from the table. I'm like, why can't I watch my Netflix? I'm like, oh. So I picked the button out and I have to use the little sensor inside.
You need to treat the nozzle.
So, listen, I am so bad with my stuff that I have not had bad luck at all with these clogging if I keep the lids. So Dilutions, the minute I get a dilution spray, lid goes bye-bye because I'm really bad with physical stuff and I don't want to maintain these little lids. With this, I've actually learned, oh please, I need to keep them. And it does prevent it from getting too dry in that little hole. Every now and then, you know, you women that use hairspray, you'll spray your hair and it'll go up, your hairspray, because it's clogged. You know what I mean? You get that little, you have to get it off the nozzle. Same with this. You might end up with a skin here and you just pick that off with your fingernail. This will skin on your craft sheet. These are skins, because this is, again, acrylic, not ink. These are weird skins that I pulled off from yesterday's play of these sprays. So just pick it off. Mary Carrera, sweet gal who did my designer's challenge, she said that she undoes this, puts the stem in water and sprays it till it's clear. That's adorable. So if you care, you know, that's a guaranteed way to not ever have them clog. If any of you would like to come live with me and do that for me, that would be amazing, because I know I don't have the left brain to do that, but it's pretty smart, actually. And then somebody else said to spray them upside down. That works with cans of spray paint. I don't know if it would work with this or not, but it would kind of empty the nozzle. So.
Have you tried them on the new silicone mat?
I haven't. Okay. Yeah, I have one in here. I can dig it out today. Yeah. Why do you care about the silicone? I mean, I don't mean why do you care. That sounded harsh. What do you expect to happen?
Maybe that it's smooth when you pull your skins off and stuff. But I don't really care. I'm just trying to think of why I would want to sell the silicone mat.
I haven't even played with it yet, so I'll play with it and give you some ideas.
Thank you.
Cool. Okay, so the other awesome thing about these sprays is they are not reactive. What does that mean?
You can do anything you want on top and it won't
means
move.
Whatever goes on top will not be affected by what's on the bottom. One of the reasons Dilutions is freaking awesome and Distress is the reactivity. I love it. That's why you can ghost. That's why you Distress, you can do all those cool effects with it. The reactivity is a bonus for those inks. We already have perfect reactive sprays. We didn't need another one. And I wanted a spray that when I paint a face on it, it won't end up looking like a Smurf if I have a blue background. So the nice thing about this is that I can come back here and use any color. White will stay white. And it's like a Christmas miracle that I don't have reactivity. So they are permanent and reactive when dry, but again, if you need to get them off something, you can use hand sanitizer or an alcohol white, rubbing alcohol white, and they really will come up. But that will stay white, okay? And so they're not reactive. That's a feature of these sprays as well. Stenciling, let me show you one little fun trick. So lay it down, grab a piece of chipboard. This is my favorite sea creature, by the way. They're incredibly intelligent. I recommend a book called Soul of an Octopus if you want to learn more about them. All right, so lay down a chipboard shape. Let's spray. Then it will color my chipboard shape, and then that's for another project or whatever. Did I show you this already? Okay, everything's blurring into one for me right now. Then you let it dry. Perfect. Then we're gonna spray again. And anywhere that yellow, that cheddar did not adhere, this glue will soak in, and then it will bead up where it's plasticky. But if I wipe it off, this is a really good store make and take, by the way. You get this pretty little image, like here's one I did earlier with a different colorway. And then I mean, how fun is that? Then you stamp a sentiment on that or layer it, and you can do it on a card front. And it's a fun way to use the chipboard shapes and make an interesting background as well. All my acrylic paint can go under and over. Okay, so you can start with my acrylic spray just fine. You can start with this, paint just fine, because acrylic mixes with acrylic really well. I just wouldn't say you could watercolor on it. Can't really watercolor, but scribble sticks, take a scribble stick, you could doodle, draw, mark, you know.
You could put your colored gesso on it and then you could watercolor.
Yes, you could. The Fude ball pen writes just fine on this. That black roller ball pen. Paint pens, Poscas, whatever you guys carry, work just fine on this. And
seems to have a glimmer to it.
We're calling it a gloss because it does have a sheen to it.
Yeah, but it almost looks like it glitters in this light.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's a thick droplet, and so the droplets aren't going on evenly, and I think it's reflecting the light differently.
It's almost texture-rich.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it really is a thick spray. It's like, I don't even know, like milky almost. Thick like milk, not like water.
Yes.
They're really fun to play with.
Have you played diluting them down?
Yeah, you can dilute them. They're just lighter color. Yeah. Cool. Hope you guys like them.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to give our video a thumbs up and subscribe to Scrap Time videos for all the Creativation 2020 coverage.